Thank you, Joe. Brooklyn Park Police say they've arrested 5 juvenile females after a string of incidents, including possible theft, assault, a police chase, and a crash with a stolen vehicle. The alert says that at 3:38 p.m. on Tuesday, police went to the Target store on West Broadway for reports of theft involving 3 girls. It was discovered the vehicle the girls left in was stolen from Minneapolis. Police say the girls assaulted an uninvolved citizen as they drove away through the parking lot. The chase began, but police say they stopped the chase shortly after. However, it resumed when the stolen vehicle was found to have crashed into another vehicle at Candlewood Drive North and West Broadway Avenue. Officers described significant damage to both vehicles, but the occupants of the non-suspect vehicle were not hurt. Although the suspect vehicle was empty when responders got there, police say they found and arrested the suspects, which they say then included 5 juvenile females with the help of canine units. It was reported that witnesses helped police at the store, the assault scene, and the crash scene. The department says 2 of the girls were released to parents at the station. However, police say the other 3 girls were taken to the Hennepin County Supervision Center when police either determined they were runaways or failed to connect with legal guardians. The alert wrapped up by saying the girls will, quote, be charged for their crimes at a later date.
I have my doubts about all of that.
Thank you, Kenny. You beat me to it.
Yeah.
Our buddies
the Target thieves?
Yeah.
They're not. They'll get a slap on the wrist.
Oh no, Ellison will put. We got a really tough judicial system here in this state.
Our buddies downstairs with an investigative report. The City of Minneapolis Commission, tasked with civilian oversight of the police, it doesn't hold meetings any longer.
Come on!
That's because 6 of the 9 positions on the police conduct oversight commission are open. So 6 of 9 are open despite records that show people are applying to serve. There are applicants who contacted the folks down at Eyewitness News, like Emma Peterson, a graduate student at the University of Minnesota. She applied to the commission in September of last year. She said she thought her skill set was perfectly what the PCOC is intended to do. She has a degree in studies in policing and public policy. She says her application was among more than a dozen that were submitted, but she never heard back. She said she got about a 5 to 10 minute interview, and then after that, they told me my application was not going to be considered any further. April marked the last time the group had met. The commission, with just 3 seats filled, does not have enough people to hold a meeting. Paul Bosman,
Unbelievable.
My God.
An attorney with the group Communities United Against Police Brutality, recently filed a petition in Hennepin County Court asking a judge to force the city to open the positions. As part of this story, the Minneapolis City Attorney's Office declined an interview request and wouldn't comment on the litigation.
No, of course not.
When asked for information about why the positions have been left open, a city spokesperson said the panel reviews apps and recommends appointments to Mayor Fry and city council members. Said since the PCOC has lost more than 50% of its members for a 3rd year in a row, this would not have solved the group's issues with a quorum. Changes could be on the horizon, though. Last week, Minneapolis City Council President Andrea Jenkins introduced an ordinance change that would consolidate oversight functions through a unified community commission, according to City Council records.
What does that mean? So
we're going to keep it going.
Committee?
Let's keep it going. Yeah.
Huh.
Wait, repeat that sentence, John.
Last week, Andrea Jenkins introduced an ordinance change that would, quote, consolidate oversight functions through a unified community commission.
So
explain what that means.
God help.
I'm
rooting for this Cedric Alexander guy. He has to be thinking, what the hell did I walk into here?
Right.
These people are nuts.
Mm-hmm.
The guys at Channel 5 did exactly, Kenny, what you said. What the hell did that mean? They tried to find out from somebody on the city, but nobody had any comment.
Because nobody knows what it means.
Exactly.
And
Because it doesn't mean anything.
Talk of shutting it all down and cutting losses. That didn't come up, did it?
No, not at all.
No, we're keep it going.
You're still paying violence interrupters who don't interrupt anything.
Right. Well, they don't want to interrupt their TV show.
Right. They're hard to reach. They're busy. They're hard to reach.
Yeah. The story you talked about earlier, but I'm going to repeat it just because it befuddles me. A New York Times analysis found that 97 lawmakers or their family members bought or sold financial assets over a 3-year span in industries that could be affected by their legislative committee work. Among those, Minnesota's Democratic U.S. Reps Dean Phillips, Nancy Craig, and U.S. Senator Tina Smith. They reported financial trades for themselves or involving family members over the past few years in companies that intersected with their congressional committee. Phillips reported trades in 276 companies, among which the Times identified 34 potential conflicts. Craig reported trades that one of her children made in 19 companies, with 2 flagged as potential conflicts. And Smith reported trades her husband made in 4 companies, 3 of which were deemed potential conflicts.
One Minnesota, though, right? We're one Minnesota.
Yes.
Tina Smith, are you kidding
Is she
me?
still around? I didn't even know she was still around.
The family of
You know,
Tina
her
Smith.
husband's name is Archie, and she describes his job as buying and selling stocks in insulin companies.
Yeah.
And
medical.
her husband sold his shares in March 2020 as the pandemic began. And then, oddly enough, most stocks plunged, but I guess he got out in time.
Well, it's pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, Edith.
Good move.
Smith's
That's,
spokesman said it was just a simple business decision. Like a lot of families, my husband Archie and I have 2 very different jobs, and we keep them completely separate, Smith said in a statement. Archie's job is to invest in medical device companies, which he has done most of his career since we moved to Minnesota in 1984. I don't know about and have absolutely no role in any of his investment decisions.
We don't know that.
Oh, Tina, you little sweetheart.
Tina.
I didn't believe that argument when Ginny Thomas used it with Clarence. And I
Right.
don't believe it with this either, with Tina Smith.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
Uh,
any of these people.
Well, here's a couple more. I got a couple more from this story because this story is amazing to me. Alan Lowenthal, a Democrat from California,
Yeah.
he sold Boeing shares on March 5th, 2020. Okay.
Yep.
One day before a House committee on which he sits released damaging findings on the company's handling of its
Oh, the
guy ought to
747
be in
MAX
jail.
jet,
Jesus.
which was involved in 2 fatal crashes. One day
Wow.
Holy
before.
S.
Okay.
Wow.
Representative Bob Gibbs, an Ohio Republican on the House Oversight Committee, reported buying shares of the pharmaceutical company AbbVie in 2020 and 2021. While at the same time, the committee was investigating AbbVie and 5 rivals over their drug prices. And I told you earlier, Tommy Tuberville, Republican of Alabama, member of the Ag Committee, regularly reported buying and selling contracts tied to cattle prices starting last year, even as the panel, by Mr. Tuberville's own account, had, quote, been talking about the cattle markets.
Yeah,
How is
and
this legal?
they're third rail, and under paragraph 13C, division 2, you're covered, Tommy Tuberville, because
That's
you
just-
reported that within 24 hours of an imaginary time frame.
But you know the biggest insider trading debacle, right?
No,
Are you sure?
Uh-oh.
no, no. What
Are
are
you
you going to
sure?
do here?
Be cautious here. Be very cautious here. There's 2 gentlemen that lived in, I believe, Philadelphia.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Blue Bloods.
Oh, don't give me this trading places thing. You
I
can't
love
mention
that.
that
I love
movie.
that. I haven't. I've just said it was a big. It was a big debacle.
Frozen orange juice.
Clarence Beeks
Yeah.
of Lyndhurst Security.
There were several references concerning this story to that particular film on
Yes.
Twitter today. I don't know if you saw it.
100%. This is what people. This is basically. I know you give me a hard time, but trading places basically was the general knowledge for any normal person, any young kid that's 15, 20. That's how they learned about commodities.
Are you saying that all
Matthew.
elementary school students should have to sit down and watch this
Matthew.
movie?
Yes.
I've seen that movie 100 times, and I still don't understand.
still
how it
don't?
works. I still don't get it.
And
Futures.
How do
They're
you
trading in futures.
How
I
do you
don't-
beat Eddie Murphy jumping off the 4th screen after they said this is bacon, which you would find in a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich? And then he looks right at the camera as if to say, "What the bleep?"
Here's Johnny Height.
Well, thank you, Joe. Lower gas costs slowed U.S. inflation for a second straight month, but most other prices across the economy kept rising. Evidence that inflation remains a heavy burden for American households. Consumer prices rose 8.3% from a year earlier and 0.1% from July, but the jump in core prices, which exclude volatile food and energy costs, outpaced expectations and ignited fear that the Federal Reserve will boost interest rates more aggressively and raise the risk of a recession. Fueled by high rents, medical care, and new cars, core prices leaped 6.3% for the year ending in August and 0.6% from July to August, the government said Tuesday.
I know what your question is going to be, Joe.
Oh, if
Let
you
me
do,
get in the
then
head.
you're really.
Let me just get in the head.
All right.
Is Clarence Beak still with the other gorilla in the cage?
No, I have a dumb question. Maybe it's not so dumb. Are gas prices dropping because demand is dropping because people can't afford? They're making decisions now. Inflation's so high. They're saying we're not going to Wisconsin Dells. We're going to buy food.
I would say no.
I would have to agree with Rookie. And maybe it's just because the summer travel season is over with.
Well, why demand obviously is the reason gas prices are down.
And
What other reason would there be?
Because the summer travel season is over. Don't you think that has a
Maybe
big
that
part
does.
of it?
What was it at Labor Day? Were we still at
I don't.
390 or?
But OPEC has just decided to not increase production.
Right.
So they want to make sure
And
the price.
cut back, in fact. they
Yeah.
said.
So
OPEC,
they want to
yeah.
make sure that price goes back up. Can we go back to that previous story?
Thank you.
I'm trying to think of something in the normal world where the people that don't live on the third rail, laws that we have to adhere to on a daily basis, so we don't go to jail, while these scofflaws just openly trade on a daily basis. And so I've been trying to think, like us, the five of us, we couldn't take, like, I couldn't take top secret money from
Right here.
Polaris.
I got it.
I couldn't take money from Polaris and then tell everybody.
Radio World, payola.
That's what I'm trying to effing get at, Reavers. Shut up.
You just asked
Jesus
a question.
Christ.
You
just
asked a question, Kenny.
And I was in the middle of saying it. We can't take money from companies and promote their things without it being above board and a paper contract. You know what I mean?
Of course
Yeah,
I do. I've
I know
been
what you
dealing
mean,
with it
sure.
for 40 years.
Oh, Kenny, you're talking about payola.
What?
Sorry. I'll move on with the news now.
Well,
Jeez.
there's no greater example than what Trump is going through. No greater example of the third rail insofar as he continues to avoid any. Let me put it this way. If he did something wrong, arrest him and get this over with. If
Okay.
he didn't do anything wrong, go the hell away.
go.
Move on.
But this is going to go on forever and nothing will come of it.
With this-
Whereas if it was you, you'd already be in jail.
if
you
gonna
did
say,
something wrong.
if it
Right.
was one of us five who had done that or had been found with,
If this
we'd all be in jail. a
if
long
this
time
story
ago.
had taken place 25 years ago, don't you guys all think this would be a much, much bigger story?
Where were we? 20? Was it Clinton years?
Well, you could liken it. You could go back, 45 years, and you could liken it to Nixon, who things happened faster, and he had to resign.